Quite often, I like to go on these internet deep dives, where I just hop from one thing to the next, and eventually end up somewhere entirely unrecognizable. Sometimes my starting point's a distant memory I have, other times it's a sudden idea I get, and whenever I find someplace worth talking about, I normally grab one of my mates to show it off to. In this case, through a series of videos and tangents, I eventually found an album of songs called The Vengeful Ones by aaube. I called them AAUBE instead of aaube because it was easier to type their name in when I remembered it as AAUBE. It's definitely actually pronounced aaube, I refuse to relent. I found it after watching a 2 hour no voice acting Roblox movie musical with one of my mates, and that was a whole experience in itself. But during one of the songs, something kept being said over and over in the backing track. It sounded like a website name because it ended in .com, but the first part was a bit hard to decipher. We wanted to see where it led, so my mate reverse searched the song, and it led me to one of these songs from the Vengeful Ones. We considered it a case closed, dusted off our hands, and went back to finish the last bit of the Roblox musical. But I really liked the song that we'd been led to, so after we were all done and we hung up the call, I went looking for more by the same people. Pretty much all of the 8 songs in the album had somewhere from 40 to 80 views each, and they were all actually only uploaded a few months ago. I listened to the album on repeat for a little while I did other stuff, and it was a fun listen, but really weird, and with the wicked fucking alternative, and I wanted to talk about it. I really like it when songs or albums have a self-contained story to them, or when the singing voice is a created character. And I often say that I wish more songs did that because I think it's quite a cool way of storytelling that isn't really explored that much. At a time where the way stories are told is kept in kind of a linear, samey way, you know? I enjoy the shit out of regular feelings and ideas based music, but I wish it could coexist with story type music a bit more instead of just completely dominating it, you know? I find something really special in the medium of entirely non-visual storytelling through music. In other words, not counting musicals. And I think singers playing a character entirely separate from themselves is cool. If you want some examples of what I'm talking about, here are some of my favorite story type or character type songs. They're just on the screen right now. Maybe some more well-known examples are like Me and My Monkey by Robbie Williams, or the old Irish Tell Me Ma. Maybe you could even count somebody that I used to know if you're feeling reckless, right? My point is, an interesting character or story can make a song that doesn't sound good worth listening to me. So, I recognized that the character that seemed to be talking in the original song I heard was consistent through the album, which was awesome because I liked that character. As I listened to it, I started kind of piecing together the story that I think was going on throughout. And I had fun with it, so I wanted to share what I got out of it here. The singer is Eleanor Forte, and because I listened to the album on YouTube a bunch, I got recommended all of these other songs she's sung in, and I was like, wow, she's done so much! Like, how come she's in these, like, hugely popular video game parodies, and then this album's less than 100 views across the board? Turns out that the answer is that Eleanor Forte does not exist. She's a fake human. She's quite truly American accent Hatsune Miku text-to-speech singer. She's fake, artificial. Also, the songs have like 2 to 3,000 views each. I was on the wrong thing. Moving on. Worth mentioning before we dive right in, I'm not a music guy. I know shit all about music and the music industry. I just like it when a song sounds good or has something interesting in its words. I take no pleasure in listening to some music that not many people have heard of because most of the time it's a complete accident, and most of that time nobody's heard it for a very good reason. In this case, I actually like these songs, even though they have the edgiest album cover ever. Like, come on, it's pretty well drawn, but the actual content of it is the most don't talk to the person with this profile picture thing ever, you know? You close the webpage when you see this, you download a new browser. I only give this album a pass because I found it on YouTube, where, like, good luck finding any song that doesn't have an anime girl background in at least one upload of it, and god damn it if most of those songs don't sound sorta good. By the time I realized that this edgy anime girl was official art, I already liked the music and I was cocked. So, with all of that out of the way now, let's get our analysis started with song 1 on the album. Nightmares. This song is a sort of introductory stage setting song, which establishes a lot of what we're going to be seeing later in the album. Remember me, obviously, implies that the listener, who I'm just going to call we from now on, is familiar with the singer, who I'm just going to call the voice from now on. When it says, I'm the one that used to be under your bed, that sort of implies that the voice is some old monster that we're familiar with, right? Or at a very baseline that we had contact with them probably since we were young. I actually think this is a little bit of a misdirection. We're meant to take it metaphorically and, like it's an actual real human talking, when in reality it's Eleanor Forte. But I actually think, and you'll see more of this later on, that this line isn't metaphorical. I missed you, so clearly the voice is fond of us, and following quite a lot, in fact, sort of dispels it as maybe being sarcastic. It's already too late. I want to bring you down with me underground. I want you to know all the nightmares I've been through. Sirs. What the fuck? I think it said surfs. I have no idea why. This voice comes up a lot in this song and only this song, and I've no idea what it is. So we're going to pretend it's not there for this analysis. Tricked you, dickhead. I tested before making this video to make sure I wouldn't get blocked from viewing, because that sucks. The good news is that it wasn't. It was claimed for copyright, so I won't be making any money off this video, but that doesn't really bother me because... Come on now. But the great news is this particular song was claimed by a dude named Circe. Is apparently their song Halloween. I couldn't find anything on this guy when I looked into it for like 2 minutes. But we'll later get into where aaube got some of their other backing tracks from. So I feel pretty confident the voice is saying Circe, and that's just the maker of the backing track, not actually important to the story at all. Huzzah! Your feet, 'cause you know that you're not all clean. Love, it's okay. We all have our demons. Oh, don't lie to me. You know what I'm talking about. You killed this girl, not here to judge. This little bitch, I think she deserved it. Okay, so first things first. You killed this girl, so that's insight into our part in the story there, a little bit of a tease there. It's not really clear whether it's, first of all, what fucking girl, but second of all, is there's literal killing, metaphorical killing, did we identity fraud? Could be anything. And then this line, which I'm sure you heard, we're going to come back to this line a ton later, so keep it in mind, it's very important. Boom! First song done. Song 2 on the album is called Satiate Me, but I'm not going to play as much of it because its backing track sounds like the brown note, and I would feel so fucking bad if somebody commented that this video made them shit involuntarily. I would be so fucking gutted, and and I'm laughing, and I would be laughing, but I would feel terrible. So I'm not gonna play it because that would just be. Also, the song's just pretty skippable for time's sake, because it, to my interpretation, just sort of acts as a further introduction to the following story and more insight into the character of the voice, just as a lecherous, selfish, violent dude. Only these 2 lines are really important for new information besides that. Fucking spoilers on that second one, but whatever, there it is. So the voice isn't a human, it's in our brain, but it's also having effects on the real world. So on to the next song. Song 3 is The Mouth of the Wolf, and I fucking love this song. This is the kind of music you thrive on, it's great. Just heard the call that you just made in your room, you swayed me down. I'm So from the opening, it looks like we've told some people, maybe therapists, maybe just friends or whatever, if you've got some of those lying around, about the existence of this voice in our brain. And the voice is angry about that. I think this truth is about the girl we killed, based on how it's worded like in Nightmares, where they refer to it as a secret we hide. But the question is, if the voice is responsible for the killing, and we've been repressing it since then, which is kind of the default interpretation so far, I think, because that's sort of the stock standard, slightly edgy storyline, right? It's, oh, voice in my head made me kill. So if that's the case, why would the voice not want to bring that back? 'Cause wouldn't that just be bringing itself back? You know, if that's all the voice is. This line kind of gives me the only answer I can come up with for that last question, even if it's a sort of shaky answer. So we, and by extension the voice, most likely haven't been punished for killing the girl, right? Just based on everything so far. So then it could be that the voice doesn't actually mind killing, but does care about the truth of the killing coming out, because that could lead to its imprisonment by way of our shared body being imprisoned. God, these songs are geez shit. Just trust me, it gets cool. The song does go on in its later half to seem to be genuinely opposed to killing, so I'm not fully sure. Maybe we blame the voice wrongly, or maybe the song has a bit of an unclear back and forth where the voice sings to us about being mad, and we sing back through the robotic fake human of Eleanor Forte about not wanting to bring it back. No idea. Oh, also, this line is just about us getting the voice removed from our brain, I reckon. This song is an absolute bop for real. Huge recommend. Go listen to this. In case it's not fully clear, it's basically saying that by telling people about the existence of the voice, we've killed those people, thrown them to the mouth of the wolf. See, vor. Other lines worth mentioning are which could be about keeping us out of jail, maybe, but it seems important even if it's not. More specifically, the again part of it. Us killing the dude probably isn't metaphorical. Also, this whole thing is super 14-year-old, but can we please ignore that? I think the story's cool, you just gotta wait. We seem to be actively working with whatever people to remove or, kill the voice, which is nice to keep in mind. Song done! Song 4 is Blue Rain, which starts off with these alarm sounds you're hearing right now, which might mean the voice's life is in danger. Maybe we're getting close to getting rid of it. Oh, it's done. This could mean that the voice has changed since we killed the girl together. Maybe it's not about that life anymore. That would explain why it seems so annoyed to have to kill everyone again in the last song. But alternatively, the repeated "there's something inside my brain" could mean that this is actually us singing now, not the voice anymore. I'm pretty sure that later songs are like confirmed sung by us, not the voice. So that is a valid interpretation to think that this one could be one of them too. Anyway, it bops a little, but it's pretty skippable when it comes to plot. The song's story is basically bad stuff is going on right now. Song done. Song 5 is called The Solution, and it is a weird one. It's got alarms again, but they sound less like panic alarms and more comparable to mini techno war horns. Imagine dying in a battle to the sound of a mini techno war horn. Imagine being killed by someone on the side that uses mini techno war horns.
Wow, Sinatra.
I think these lines are so funny, they tickle me in such a unique way. This is probably about the girl that we killed, since it has bitch in common with it, the called her that earlier. So this could be a backwards-facing song about when we killed the girl. The girl was probably a problem for us, since the voice thought she deserved it, so killing her might have been, the solution, right? That's kind of backed up by these. It also sounds quite a lot like it could be a hitman of some kind talking to us, which would make a lot of sense given pretty much everything that's said about having solutions if we have the money. So that could be the way we killed the girl, sort of indirectly through a hired hitman woman. And in our guilt for what we did, we blame the voice in our head for our own decision. Really, those are just my best guesses. The song's fucking weird. Song done. Song 6 is Stuck in Delusion, and one of the only 2 songs to make it to streaming services, or at least to Amazon Music. Don't talk shit, I know it was the wrong choice. It's also one of the best in the album. Let's go.
I don't know who I am anymore. Somebody please help me for too long, I suppose. When I'm alone, I hear her voice. I think that she's evil, not bad, not good, probably way worse than that. Oh, these voices inside my head told me that everyone deserves death sometimes. So isn't that normal? Am I insane? Don't tell me things like that, please.
Before I jump into some of those lyrics, it's worth mentioning that I reckon this song is us singing rather than the voice. Keep this line in mind. It's important and part of why I think it's us singing, not the voice. This line also hints at it being us singing about the voice, and us once again blaming the voice for the girl we killed. I think that because of the line, "This little bitch, I think she deserved it," I think that's solid enough ground. This song could even actually be us talking to the therapist or whoever during Mouth of the Wolf. Also, these lines are probably important to remember too if you're taking notes, but I'm not going to talk about them. Song done. 2 to go. Song 7 is Fly. This song is my favorite on the album. To be honest, I quite like it as just a standalone song, and I can easily see myself or anyone else just laying down and listening to it, reflecting on old friends and the people that we've grown apart from. For some reason, this song super hits home for me in that way, when you disconnect it from the others. It's not too plot important, beyond reinforcing what we were thinking earlier, but I really like it. I got no fucking clue what that guy just said, though. Service on the beach? Is that second part the actual way you pronounce aaube? No answers.
I think about the time that we used to pass together. You were my one friend, but you disappeared. Since you, I'm just sitting here all alone, thinking about all that we lived. Memories of the past. Why did you leave me here inside my own delusion? I was terrified to die alone.
I think this is us singing about the voice itself again, because remember from Nightmares, it disappeared. I have a theory that the voice is our old imaginary friend. And that's sort of supported by all that we lived, meaning we spent time together. Why did you leave me here? Seems to tie in here as well. Instead, it could actually be the voice again, singing about how we outgrew it as an imaginary friend, a la Inside Out, or how we suppressed it after blaming it for the death of the girl that we killed. I think it's more likely us, though, because of the line "inside my own delusion" and how that ties into the last song. Anyway, it looks like this could mean that we actually created this voice/imaginary friend to escape from our own loneliness, maybe. But that would actually seem very likely. Because Song 8, and the final song of the album, is Paranormal. The first song that I found that led me to the rest of the songs. This is the one shares a backing track with the Roblox musical. And boy does it slap hard! Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't touch me, nor feeling my skin. You can barely see me in the night when you
So once again, we're back to the voice singing directly to us in this song. And this one really just backs up the imaginary friend idea. It sounds a lot like we created this voice to get away from our loneliness. It doesn't really exist, and we know that, but we pretend that it does exist because it makes us feel better. Maybe blaming it for our mistakes is a part of that as well. Yeah, okay, see, I'm not just going wild here, right? There's actual backing. Okay, I'm sorry.
I know that you may be lonely sometimes, but I'm not the best thing to think about then. Leave me in the shadow. You know it's true what people says. I'm paranoid.
Is the voice encouraging us to let it go now? That seems like quite a massive shift from the mouth of the wolf, doesn't it? It seems almost like the voice wants release, or more accurately, since it's just for us, we're finally starting to realize that we need to learn to live without it. It's interesting that even then, when we're giving ourselves the advice to get rid of the voice, we need to do it through the voice, having it ask us to let it go. That could be out of habit, that could be out of an actual need, because we don't know how to help ourselves yet, but I think it's interesting. Side note, if you don't like that interpretation, the repeated "I'm a ghost, I wonder," which, by the way, until I found the lyric video, that's not what I heard. I heard "like a goose, tie the noose." Like, that's the line "I'm a ghost, I wonder," which is repeated, could actually mean that it's the girl we killed, or the girl we hired someone to kill, singing, in which case it would mean that we didn't kill anybody. We're just some insane dude who feels guilty about a murder we made up, like Agatha Christie after a bad knock to the head. I don't buy that one, but it's a valid understanding if you prefer it. So, that's the album. At the end of it, it's sort of unclear exactly what situation we end up being left in. It looks like we've been suffering from guilt for killing somebody some amount of time ago, but haven't been punished for it yet at all, because nobody knows that we're the ones to blame. The album seems, putting it shortly, to be the story of how we try to move on from the guilt. Or failing that, at the very least, it's the story of an extremely lonely person. Maybe the girl we killed was actually an old friend we left behind, if that seems like a better interpretation, but I myself think that the killing was a literal kill, like someone died. I have no fucking idea who the vengeful ones are. To put a bow on this whole thing, I looked into aaube some more. Trust me, there's not that much to find just yet. Even the lyrics pages have entire sections missing, which was mad annoying, since some of the songs are really hard to hear, and I only found the lyric videos. You don't care. But it turns out that this album is the fourth musical project, and second with lyrics, of aaube, who's a French bloke. Aube is French for dawn, and there's also a river in France named Aube, but there's a whole extra A in Old Mate's name. It pisses me off. As for aaube's own word on the album and its meaning, its story, they wrote a 2-sentence description of it on literally one of the sites. It basically just says that it's about PTSD and schizophrenia, which is pretty unchallenging and standard, to be square with you. I'm willing to say our assessment sort of fits to that description though, but almost makes me feel a bit bad that it does. Also, apparently the album is a direct sequel to their last album, Third Therapy. Maybe I'll listen to that sometime. I much prefer the cover art of that one, actually, and it might have made all of this a bit easier to figure out. Also probably less fun. I also managed to find out, through the Roblox Musicals description, that the backing track of Paranormal is called Bully by Tuna Beats. Following that to their YouTube channel, and following that to their website, and scrolling through all of their songs for about 25 minutes, clicking on each of them to hear the opening few notes, I also found out that the backing of Mouth of the Wolf is another one of their songs named Paper People. AAUB's songs don't have the vocal watermark, so they obviously paid in order to use these songs. If you're interested, they're $30 each. I couldn't find any others from the album on there. And the fact that Circe seems to be responsible for nightmares means that AAUBE probably shopped around to find these backing tracks, didn't get them all from Tunebeats. I wouldn't have been able to find any of them if it weren't for the Roblox description. And no backing track artists are credited on any of AAUBE's sites, but they clearly paid for the use of each of these songs, so I don't think there's really anything bad going on there, in case anyone was jumping to those conclusions. It's also possible they made some of the tracks themselves. I really enjoyed this album, both to listen to and to analyse. And according to AAUBE, it was worked on scatteredly from basically November 2019 to March 2020, so there was clearly a lot of work put into it if that wasn't clear enough already. So with that all done and dusted now, you might be wondering about AAUBE themselves. How are they doing? What are they doing? Well, not to worry. A quick look at their Instagram page tells me they're doing just fine. Have a good one.